Welcome back to season 2, episode 2 of the Closing Time podcast. We've got Brian, Tripp, and myself. We are going to answer some questions today that we see often in the new age of mortgages and what's going on in our world today. So,
First of all,
and I forgot on episode 1. Make sure you like, follow, and share. I forgot that in the ending. Brian wanted me to
in all seriousness,
admit my failure.
We want to exceed our numbers from last season on the episode. We're proud of the fact of what we accomplished with our viewers.
1.2 million is pretty cool.
It's more than I thought, but we need your help to do that. Seriously, if you are getting any value from our content, please share, please follow, please tell your friends about us. We want to help people that are buying houses or real estate agents that are selling houses. And we feel like we have some value to add. So get us out there as much as possible. We would certainly appreciate it.
And we're trying to convince Tripp to join us full time. So if you've liked other episodes he's been on, especially with the books that we talked about, comment Tripp and see how many comments we can get in this episode to keep him on full time.
But what I was actually cutting you off for was not that, because you said we're going to answer questions that we see a lot in the mortgage industry. And for the record, we have 2 of our new girls. And we have Maddie, who you guys have all met, and then we have Jillian,
Jilly Willy,
who's on Travis's team. They are going to ask us questions. We have had no preparation except for one question that I think they're going to change up to make it so that we can legitimately say we have no preparation. They're probably using AI to come up with the questions, but we do believe that they will be relevant to what we're seeing in our market today. And if they are not, we will answer the question in a way that is relevant to anybody looking to purchase, refinance a house, or any real estate agents that are active in the market.
Yep.
So with that.
Okay. How is social media transforming the home buying journey?
You want me to start or you want to start?
I mean, my answer to this is I have my answer already. So I'll start.
Go ahead.
I am what Maddie calls a boomer. Technically, I'm not in the boomer generation, but I'm old enough to not really care about social media like a lot of the younger generation does. I didn't grow up with it like a lot of people have done now. I was not on social media until about 2 years ago. I mean, I had Facebook accounts and all the boomer stuff, but I wasn't active on social media until I had a conversation with a client that chose a different lender than me because they found that person on social media and liked his content. So I legitimately lost a client. And I don't know if our terms were the same or not, but the reason I was given was because they didn't find me on social media. And so my answer is being active on social media, providing content or information that is relevant to your field, specifically mortgage at this point, allows consumers to establish a level of trust with you prior to ever having a conversation with you. And I'm sure all the social media people know this already, but I'm learning this as I go. And I've noticed a big difference that my calls aren't cold calls at all anymore.
Right.
My clients, that they all go to social media first. Like if a realtor refers me to a client, that client's immediately going to Instagram to look me up or to Google or to wherever, and they're finding my social profiles, and they might spend 5 minutes looking at some content to establish that I'm not a schmuck, that I might be a likable enough person to work with, and B, that I've got some sort of knowledge that's going to help them further their goals. So to me, social media is changing the game because if you're not on it, you're going to get left in the dust, and you kind of have to be active on it to establish that trust base with your clients before the initial conversation.
So in short, you're embracing building your brand.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great way.
Travis, talk about it a little bit from how clients are using it to educate themselves and whether they're doing that properly or whether they're off the mark.
I think that's a scary question. Because I think there are a lot of content creators out there that are providing accurate information. And I would say to the flip side of that, there's probably just as many creators who are not accurate in the things that they're putting out there. And so I think social media and AI is a double-edged sword. Because if you know nothing about a topic and you go to social media and start researching, you're immediately going to find splitting ways, right? And so which one of those is right and which one is wrong is left up to the viewer at that point. But I think from an education perspective, it gives people a baseline of maybe what questions to ask or what keywords to listen for when they're talking to a loan officer, loan advisor. So I think in that way, it's at least giving them some basic information. It does scare me. I think I'm the opposite of Brian. I don't embrace the social media and stuff. I do it for branding purposes, but if I had it my way, I would never be on social media and anything at all.
If I'm Maddie or Jillian and I'm nervous about having a conversation because I don't know what I don't know,
It eases that.
finding
Yeah.
clips of content creators that are providing accurate information.
Most people are fearful of asking a dumb question, and so it eliminates that fear by giving them some sort of baseline to start with.
And you asked that question as if you had an answer ready for it. Do you have
Yeah,
an
no,
answer?
that's where I was going.
Well, no, really, I was setting you up because I thought you would be good at responding on that, because I think we had talked at some point in the past about how you were concerned about people getting wrong information. As the old man in the group, I've really gotten to the point in my career where I love to teach. And that's one of the roles that I serve now in the Palmetto Mortgage Group is being a teacher and a coach to our teammates as we work through different processes. Borrower situations are unique that's the fascinating thing about me, with 25 years of lending experience that keeps me in this is that I'm still encountering new stuff every day. And I love to teach, but my favorite class size is 1 because people are so unique. How can you put something in a can and bottle it up and then serve it out there that's going to apply? Because unique circumstances beget unique responses to guidelines and different procedures. So I think it is great for teaching and for some general guidance, but the best thing to do is get with an experienced lender and have a one-on-one conversation about you,
Yep.
as opposed to trying to get everything figured out on the internet. And I hear a lot. When this is going to really date me, but rather than calling it social media, we used to call it at the water cooler. You would have your conversation, you would learn what you learned at the water cooler versus learning at social media. And so much water cooler information is wrong. Because it's not wrong, it's just not applied correctly.
Yes.
And so I think that would be my biggest takeaway is get with somebody and make sure you're getting the correct application.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Next
question.
Next question. When does refinancing make financial sense, and how often can you refinance after?
All right, Trip, you start with that one.
This one's too easy.
This is right up your alley.
So when refinancing, the first thing that you want to ask yourself or whatever is how long do you plan to be in the house to evaluate that. So if you're going to be there for 6 months, that makes it really hard. If you're going to be there for indefinite, 5 years, 10 years longer, then it's worth doing. And then you're going to calculate the cost of the refinance by the monthly savings and to determine how many months it's going to take to recoup your cost. As a general rule, like the VA says that you have to do it in less than 36 months. I like for it to be less than 24. You'll get some people that are a little bit more aggressive or less aggressive than that, but that's the conversion, and that's what I'm looking for is immediately is how long is it going to take you to get your money back? And if it's going to take a short period of time, then let's go. And if it's going to take a long, long time, then let's hold off until the rate's going to be.
And that's strictly from a rate and term perspective.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about a cash out refinance where we're consolidating debt or doing something different than that, there's much more that goes into, does it make sense to do so? What am I saving overall monthly? Does that allow me to build up, a rainy day fund? Does that allow me to fund my retirement account? Does it allow me to start investing? And so those are more one-off situations where I think it takes sitting down with somebody, walking through what debts you have, what are the interest rates on the credit cards or car payments or this, that, or the other that may be advantageous to get rid of. But that break-even point is always something that you want to factor.
You bring up an interesting thing there, because there are times when I'm as frugal as it gets out there, and I try to put on that mentality for my clients as well. But there are people, due to the rising cost of consuming in the United States, everything is just way more expensive. It's outpaced earnings. And so you've got a lot of people who are going backwards every month with their payments, high car payments, $800 or $900 a month, credit card, whatever. And every month it's getting a little bit worse. And that's a recipe for, at some point there's going to be a reconciliation. And sometimes you were talking, I heard you earlier talking about purchase resets. You could have a refinance reset and get it to where you use it to wipe out debt. You may end up at the same interest rate. It could be beneficial to refinance at a higher rate if you're getting rid of some other debt that's at a higher rate, or if you're just flat out going to lose it all. I mean, if it's in lieu of bankruptcy or foreclosure or repossession of your car, it may just be better to do it. And I don't like it when people, have found them that in that situation, because there's a lot of stress with that. But the reality is that it's happening to people, and sometimes we have to have those hard conversations and help people work through that.
Yeah, and it's a conversation to be had if they can learn from that experience, right? Because if you're going to refinance and eliminate debt to then go open and rack up more debt, well, it's just a never-ending cycle that you hope appreciation outpaces what you can accumulate in debt. So, I mean, that's where having that detailed conversation and setting some, real life expectations for yourself might be a big deal there. Brian, you got anything on that, or you want to move?
I don't know that I could answer any better than you two did. Let's go to the next question.
Next question.
What things do you find that are inaccurate on websites like Zillow and Realtor.com?
It's a great question. Most real estate agents that you would talk to don't trust the Zestimate value or the Realtor.com value, because similar to our business, where there's a lot of nuance to the loan structure, there's a lot of nuance to properties that those websites won't pick up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think it's fine if you're a homeowner that owns a house to go get a baseline rough idea in a lot of cases of what your value may end up being to determine whether you want to inquire about buying or refinancing a house. But it's a lot of times, if you made an addition and didn't get the permitting done right, or if there's a lot of times the website's data is aged and you've done things to the house that would make it worth more than what the website would have.
Or
bathroom, kitchen,
property.
Or if it's a unique property. Yeah. They're a lot of times more accurate in a lot of the new construction neighborhoods that are what people call cookie cutter houses, where they're all very similar exteriors and floor plans. And there's a lot of comparable sales that have happened in that same neighborhood. But to your point, in a unique property, if you're on the lake, or if you've got a house with some land out in the country, or if you've got a whatever doesn't have a lot of comparable sales that have happened in a short time frame in a close by area, the algorithms are unable to make an accurate valuation of your property.
And I think from a mortgage perspective, most of those websites have a mortgage calculator on them. It is strictly just looking at principal and interest. It's not accounting for homeowners insurance, property taxes, HOA. Is it in a flood zone? There might be flood insurance. And it's probably also calculating not from a total cost of a mortgage perspective. It's just looking at, all right, so these websites offer this interest rate, not factoring in that they're building in 1.5 to 2 points to get that interest rate, what that cost may be. So it's very, again, a place to start to get a understanding, and then calling a real estate agent who's got the expertise, or a loan officer that's got the expertise to build that plan out for you from there.
The other thing, the websites, if you're looking at it to try to decide if you're going to sell your house, the other thing the websites can't factor in is what your average turn time is, or days on market.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's things that are just lacking data. It doesn't have the ability to provide. And so I would always encourage somebody to contact a professional real estate agent if that's what they're trying to do.
You got anything else to add to that?
I don't know if I should go there, but I will. Just that it will also, those sites will also promote specifically like lenders as trusted partners, and those are just people who have ponied up some money. They might be newer into the game. I don't know that somebody who's agreed to pay a fee to be a sponsor on that program necessarily becomes trustworthy just because they pay the fee. So I would do your research on who you're getting into business with rather than just taking their recommendation because they bought the recommendation.
Yep.
I think you should have gone there, and that's a point that I'd failed to make, and you did a really good job of making.
Absolutely. All right. What's next?
For realtors, how can their lender partner help get a deal under contract?
Well, I can tell you what we do. You want us to go?
You go ahead because it's all the same that we're going to do. So take it.
First thing is you got to make sure that the pre-approval is done accurately. It's got to have verified income, verified assets. It's got to be a fully done pre-approval. At
Verified
the bare
means
minimum.
verified means having documentation in house reviewed by us to sign off on.
And income calculated.
Correct.
Like most people don't understand how difficult calculating like somebody's income can be, but there's so many factors that go into it. So the first step is fully verified, accurate pre-approvals.
Yep.
If you want to take that a step further, we've talked about it before, but we will send a lot of our clients through our fast track process where they get fully underwritten by an underwriter, and we get a loan commitment when we're done with that. So from a seller's perspective or the selling agent's perspective, when that buyer makes an offer on that property, we can legitimately say to that agent, this buyer has already gone through underwriting and there's no financing issues outside of anything that could come up that's property related, right? So that's step number 2. And that's a really important one because at that point, we can offer a very short closing time if we need to.
Mm-hmm.
The next step would be we make a phone call to the listing agent explaining that on the front end. So if you are making an offer on a property, that seller or that selling agent might get 2 or 3 different offers. Most loan officers are not going to take the time to proactively call the agent on the other side of that transaction and explain to them everything we've done to pre-approve our borrower. And what that does is it gives us the opportunity to talk about how well qualified that buyer is.
Correct.
Talk about how everything has been verified. And that agent can then go to their seller and say, hey, we've got these 2 offers or these 3 offers. This lender called me and they've already been underwritten. So there's no issues with financing here. The seller is going to feel more safe or safer accepting that offer versus an offer from another lender who hasn't proactively done those steps or made the phone call.
Yeah. And I had this conversation in a realtor meeting yesterday that as listing agents, you are doing your sellers a disservice if you are not calling the lenders, if they're not reaching out to you. If you are the listing agent and you're not calling that lender with a set, document questions that you have for them and document that for your seller, that you're taking that information back to your seller, you're a terrible listing agent.
And one other thing, do you have anything to add? I'm just talking.
I was going to add that there are pre-qualification letters that borrowers can obtain online by entering in their own information. And pre-qualifications are done on 3 basic points. We're analyzing their credit, we're analyzing their debt to income ratio, and then we're analyzing their cash to close. And from my experience over all the years, borrowers will tell me the truth about their credit report and probably get it right. They will try to tell me the truth about their debt to income and they're going to get it wrong because calculation of income is not, they tend to project it forward. And we're looking at 3 years or 2 years in arrear with the continuance of 3 years going forward.
Agree.
And that's a concept that's lost on people and it's very difficult. We also, trends that get negative. It gets very, very complicated. So they try to get it right, but they get it wrong. So when they put it into a computer and say, this is my income, it's errant data and it's going to get an errant result.
Yep.
And so a real estate agent that is accepting that is putting themselves at risk for losing a lot of time, energy, and the cost of doing that. They're putting the other agent and the seller at risk because garbage in equals garbage out on the analysis there.
And it's a reputational risk for everybody
Yes.
at that point because that seller and that buyer then are not going to refer any of those people who didn't do their due diligence at all. So then it's a reputational risk that follows you. It's not
Yes.
just one transaction.
When I make that call to the listing agent, I'm Trip Davis, I'm local, look up my Google stars. I'm putting that on the line for this deal.
Google stars.
Google stars, I got four,
You're the Google star now, Trip.
I got 4.97 Google stars.
One other thing that I think gets lost on a lot of people is that one thing I do, I'll speak for myself, is I'll ask my buyer clients how excited they are about a specific property. If it's a 10, I can help the agent structure the offer in a way that's going to help them win.
Yep.
If
Oh,
it's
that's
a
great.
6, then we might not go in as strong with the offer. So I'm helping my buyer clients structure their offers in a way that, like, we want to satisfy the client's desires. And if it's a 10 house and there's multiple offers, you might need to go pay more than what the house is listed for. But I'm going to help the agent understand where the client is on that so that they can structure the offer appropriately and get more offers accepted.
I had one last week where the borrower had done a pre-qualification somewhere else online, and they came to me, the agent called me and said, we need down payment assistance, we're abandoning this other lender. And it turns out, they didn't have enough cash to close, had written a full price offer with no seller paid closing costs. And the borrower had enough for the down payment, but just not the closing costs. It was just, if the agent had come through us on the front end and said, hey, help us structure this, and we would have said, you've got the resources to do that if you will ask for down, for some seller paid closing costs, or, we can combine it with this down payment assistance program, but we're still going to need, $5,000. They just didn't ask for the assistance in setting up the deal, and it didn't work. Fortunately, they came to us after they abandoned the other lender, and it did work, and we're scheduling for closing on that.
And so I want to bring up an example. You were talking about how we calculate income looking back, and consumers oftentimes project forward. This is a loan that closed yesterday. They were with another lender for 71 days trying to get a USDA loan. USDA loans have income limits. This borrower was $48,000 over the income limit. And the other lender had not calculated income correctly. And so they waited 71 days. 8 days later, I got them into a product that worked for them with less money due at closing, and we closed 8 days later because we deep dived and asked the right questions and got the documentation that we needed. We did not use a USDA loan. There was no way in heck that they were going to ever get a USDA loan. But that just shows the consumer went to that lender asking for a USDA loan.
Right.
That's what they
They
wanted.
probably learned at the water cooler that
Yep.
the USDA is a great loan product.
But I mean, that's just a example of knowing how to calculate income and making it fit to work for a consumer.
I had a front row seat to watch that loan go through, and what he's saying is absolutely the truth. It happened just like he said.
Well, the point that gets lost on real estate agents is, what would you say, 25% of the loans that we close are started with another lender and came to us for whatever reason?
That's probably
It's a good chunk.
Yeah.
So for math purposes, I'll just say 25%. And if in our market, the average sales price is, I don't know, $300,000, that's a $9,000 commission. And if I'm getting each one of our agents an extra 3 to 4 deals a year,
Yep.
like I just made you an extra $30,000 to $40,000 in income because we understand how to structure loans and structure your offers better. So as a value add to our agents, we essentially give them raises because we're helping them convert more deals into contracts and closings.
Yeah, and then he's good. And then, but what you're not calculating there is you have 3 to 4 more deals of satisfied clients who are then referring friends and family, and so the deals that grow off of that,
It's exponential.
It's wild.
What were you going to make?
Yeah,
It's not you. This is a chance for all of us to kind of lay it out there for everybody. All right. So when I was a kid, my dad taught me to water ski, and he said, son, if you don't ever fall down, you'll never learn the greater tricks in this. And there's something, in writing pre-qualifications, if we don't get aggressive to some degree and we're 100% accurate all the time, there's some people that are going to be left behind. We need to be, we need to be very high on our accuracy, but sometimes we need to be a little bit more aggressive. Let's each of us go through and say what our target percentage of pull through is on your pre-quals. What's an acceptable pre-qual pull through rate to where we're fully, we've got to be right. But if you're 100% right, then there might be somebody that we don't serve that still needs to be served that would, if there's a 98% the chance that there's a pull through on it, is it worthy of writing the pre-qualification?
So, okay, so I thought you were asking that question a different way. So you're asking what is our threshold of risk for
Yes.
issuing a
Yes.
pre-approval letter, because
Yes.
we don't do pre-qualification.
I mean, these online things, I think some of those are coming through at like 70%. I mean, if I had to guess on that, because it's garbage in, garbage out, but we're looking at documents. We're looking at credit history. We're hearing the narratives behind this.
And I want to hear y'all's answer, because mine might be.
Tripp's specifically targeting me with Ann, because we have over the years talked about he needed 100% pull through, and I was okay with a 92% pull through. My actual percentage year to date is 100. I have yet to write a pre-approval that has not closed based on something
That's
I
what I'm
missed.
talking about. Good job.
But I would say that a 96%, I have a 4% risk threshold in that regard. And I'm known for saying all of my stuff works out most of the time.
I think I would go 85, 90
85.
as a
So
threshold.
call me.
No, because underwriting in particular has a lot of gray area. And the ability to dance in the gray area is my job of a salesman to sell that to an underwriter.
Yeah.
And so I think I do a hell of a job dancing in that 10 to 15% to get an underwriter to discretion in my way. That's why I answer the question that way. Like I closed a VA loan on Friday that everyone, with the exception of maybe Tripp in my office, was like, this will never ever, this is not going to close. Like, this is going to be your first miss of the year. And I closed it because of the gray area in underwriting that I'm allowed to dance in. I got on the phone with the underwriter, sold the picture, even had to sell it to an underwriting manager who we ended up getting there.
Let me frame this in a way that's makes you look more positive and in a better
I
light.
mean, I look positive in that. The loan closed.
It's not a gray
I've missed
area.
on 2 pre-approvals in
Gray
my
area,
entire career.
You're saying gray area. What I would say
actually
is
pretty good.
underwriters have discretion, and your relationship with your underwriters and your ability to frame the story in a way that is a positive outlook for the buyer
We have to know
allows
the
you to close a
guidelines.
way higher percentage of loans than
Correct.
most loan officers would.
You have to know the gray area, the where you can bend in underwriting guidelines. There are one of the pre-approvals that I wrote that I lost was the other lender knew an area in the Freddie Mac guideline. I mean, I remember the loan. I remember the loan officer that I lost it to. I was standing in your office in our old building when I lost that loan. He knew a caveat in the Freddie Mac guideline that I did not. I said no, he said yes, and it got closed. I mean, that's the example that I'm giving. Like that's
So one other thing, just to if there's, let's say a loan's 75% chance it's going to close, and I've taken these on before. I think that when we identify that and all parties are given notice, hey, this is a 75% chance, and it's communicated accurately, and those expectations are out there, and we can be a part of it, then we're all in it together. And I think that's
very true. I've never taken an 85%er and selling that as 100%. Like I'm letting all parties
And it's
know.
even more acceptable if the issue that you have or where that's in the gray area is identified and vetted through underwriting early
That's
in the
correct.
process, not the day before.
Fast track.
closing.
And if you take the three of us all together, our pull-through rate is 98% or higher
One
year after year after year on things. Once we trigger a loan file and have started the process, ordered an appraisal, we're probably in that 99% range.
Before we get to a question from one of our viewers, New Girls, do you have any other questions? Y'all can't see Maddie in the background scowling at me when I say New Girl, but it's intentional. Do you have any more questions? Dilly Willy?
I don't
Jelly
think,
Willy
ra-
had
I,
more
I don't think
questions.
rage baiting is really a word. It's not.
Oh man. Y'all have been fighting with each other for a while, I hear.
All right. We have a question from a viewer regarding your book video from Will. You said that reading 5 books is more important than a college degree. Do you think a college degree even matters in today's job market? And if so, what is it actually important for?
Wow, that's so deep. Can we do a whole nother episode about that?
We can give him a brief answer now.
So a college degree is what you make of it. Reading those 5 books is what you make of it. So when I said reading those 5 books doesn't get you there. Reading those 5 books and embracing the concepts gets you there. Going to college and getting a degree and embracing what comes after it gets you there. There are great examples of people who have exceeded at the very highest level who abandoned college along the way. I mean, the Bill Gates type stories, Mark Zuckerberg type stories. So the success comes from, the common denominator in success is that you just don't accept no for an answer. It's a relentless pursuit of whatever it is that you're after. That can come from a college degree. It can come from reading 5 books. I think that the higher price of a college degree now produces a less reward than it did in the past. I think that college is not for everybody. I don't think it's worth incurring. I looked at the application I was looking at right before I came downstairs, had almost $200,000 in student loans for somebody that's making $65,000 a year, 17 years into their business. That's not a good investment return. So we can dive deep into it, but I mean, that's a quick.
Do you have thoughts on the networking capabilities that going to a college has and whether that is advantageous to somebody who gets a college degree or doesn't? And
It depends on your personality. I mean, it depends on how. There's just so many different areas. That I love to teach, and that's a one-on-one classroom subject matter because people are so unique one from the other.
Well, and it also doesn't, like, that question doesn't factor in that there are certain jobs that require a college degree. So in those scenarios, obviously it would be relevant and important to get a college degree. I think there's valid arguments on both sides of it. And
I mean, if you wanted a college degree and you're not in a position to pay for it, then I think 2 years of a tech school leading into a 4-year degree, living at home the whole time, working part-time to minimizing debt. I think that the era of 4 years of summer camp for most people is over. I think that's foolish.
Yep.
I went to college during the summer camp era of college. It was awesome. Sorry you're going to miss that because it was a lot of fun. But if you're truly looking for if you have the discipline to guard your future self over the consumption of your present day self, then do that and pursue the wiser thing. But it just depends on if you want to start behind or start even or start ahead.
we all have college degrees. Our college degrees are not required to get into our chosen lines of work, but we've all achieved at a decently high level. And so that adds ambiguity to the answer to the question.
It does.
But you're right. We probably need a whole episode on that one.
Yeah, I think we certainly need to do an episode on that because I think we all three have some opinions on that.
So let's ask the viewers to comment on this. We were talking earlier before this episode about spending an episode, maybe doing a deep dive into one of the books. Comment if you find the 5 books that I recommended, say which one you want us to do the deep dive into first, and we will do that, and we'll do a great job of diving into that book for you.
And you can post the link to that video if they don't know how to search. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so they have to comment trip dash the book because we're trying to get all the trip comments as well. So you stay on the podcast. Don't forget that. I wasn't going to let you forget.
They're having a lot of fun with me because this is output here is my only form of social media. I don't have any social media input, so everybody's having a lot of fun with me, and that's
Trip
just
won't
fine.
see your comments.
They'll tell me about them.
We will tell him about them.
All right, so again, we're done. No more questions from the peanut gallery, correct? All right. Thank you for watching episode 2. As Travis failed to do in episode 1, we would really love for you to like, comment, and share, specifically on Trip's request. But that's episode 2, season 2. That's a wrap, and we appreciate you watching.
See you next time.